On AM 1130, 99.9 FM, Prescott, Chino Valley, and Paulden, 95.5 FM, Prescott Valley and Cottonwood, the talk of the Quad Cities, KQ&A. It's HammerTime. Waking up with the YCCA. HammerTime is brought to you by Lawhorn Plumbing, Verde Valley Alarm Services, Earthworks Landscape and Supply, Prescott Home Safety, Greenlee Designer Surfaces, Get Right Mitigation, Franklin Plumbing, The Blind Brothers, Caltex, Vicente Landscaping, Barrett Propane, and Badger Roofing. And now from the studios of KQ&A, it's HammerTime, waking up with the YCCA. Here's the Executive Director of the Yavapai County Contractors Association, Sandy Griffiths.
Hey everybody, happy weekend, happy February, happy deja vu. How many more weeks till we are out of deja vu?
2.
Okay.
A couple more weeks.
And then we could go into March deja vu.
Then so we'll be anti-deja vu for 1 week, and then we'll start all over again.
Perfect. I love Yogi Berra and deja vu. Mr. Wingman, welcome to HammerTime.
And same to you, kiddo.
Okay, so what'd you do for your bride for Valentine's Day? Did you buy her chocolates, flowers, a mushy card? Did you take her out to dinner? Did you cook her breakfast?
Some of all the above.
Like what?
Like a card.
Mushy or sweet and sentimental? Or funny? Mushy. Are they always mushy?
For certain dates they are. Usually I get more than one card, though. So a lot of times I'll get a funny card for the morning and then a mushy card for the evening.
Oh, okay.
And then I kind of participated by buying sweets.
But wait a minute. Listeners, we're going to find out. Were those sweets for you, my wingman Mike, or were they for your wife?
If I just said guilty, would that answer the question?
That answers the question, totally. So, got it.
But it was a good day had by all. Thank you very much for asking.
Perfect. So, our show this past weekend was Scott Shepard and FMA. Mm-hmm. Pretty impressive.
It was.
Great show.
It was. And then not long after that show ended, there was this event. I don't remember what they call it, Super something. Super Sunday, maybe, is what they call it.
You know, I think the hype was so disappointing.
It preceded it. I didn't have a dog in the hunt, so to speak, so I really didn't care. I just thought this is going to be a great game.
I watched part of it, and then I did other stuff and turned my music on in the house and started dancing and going crazy.
I started napping in the fourth quarter.
Seriously?
I know, I hate to admit that.
You stayed all the way to the fourth quarter?
Yep, sure
Wow,
did.
What a hero. What a wingman.
Anyway, so we'll wait till next year, and hopefully it'll be a little bit tighter game.
We have a wonderful show today. Are you on your best behavior?
I am now.
You better be, because we have got to be stellar. We have got to be point on.
Yes, we do.
Because we have with us, listeners,
the one,
the only, the best ever town manager of Prescott Valley.
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert Davidson is with us, Mike.
So we will behave.
We will behave. So I'm so excited for this. I'm with anticipation. So take us to break, and when we come back, we will introduce the universe to the one, to the only, to the best ever town manager.
Perfect.
In the world.
I think that's a great idea.
I do too.
You're listening to HammerTime, brought to you by Yavapai County Contractors Association. And we're pleased to be airing on Talk of the Quad Cities on KQ&A 1130 AM, 99.9 FM. And if you're in Cottonwood or in the town of Prescott Valley, you can listen to us.
Yep. Whoa.
You can listen to us on 95.5 FM. So buckle up, because we've got a great program in front of us. Get cozy. Don't turn that channel, because we'll be right back.
You're listening to HammerTime, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Hey everybody, good morning and welcome to HammerTime, brought to you by Yavapai County Contractors Association. Okay, before we went on break, we promised that we have the one, the only, the best ever town manager in the universe with us, Mr. Gilbert Davidson, town of Prescott Valley.
Welcome aboard.
Well, thank you very much. I think you're hyping it up a little bit too much. A little bit. I've heard a lot about this HammerTime, so I was expecting to have like a big hammer somewhere here in the studio.
We will go easy on you, Mr. Davidson.
She keeps that under the desk, so as long as she doesn't reach under the desk, you're safe.
All right. Well, I was hoping for like MC Hammer's like intro song too.
We could do that.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is like a big deal. Thank you for taking the time out of your weekend to come and share it with Mike and me.
Well, thank you for having me on. And yes, recovering from that like game, I kind of lost a little interest at a point. But
did you watch the whole thing?
I made it to the end. Just was watching. But yeah, it was way different than what I thought it was going into it.
I feel so sad for the little Kansas City Chiefs.
I have no idea what the line was, but I would have had to have thought that KC was favored.
I bet there were some upsets last night. Yeah.
It was major, major. But that goes on.
So, town manager, city manager, I have no idea. Well, I know what you do. I know how often you take my phone calls and answer my emails. Do you get that from everybody?
It's a job that a lot of people like to engage with. A lot of people like to certainly
micromanage, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't say micromanage, but definitely lots of ideas and thoughts and recommendations. So a lot of people, a lot of thoughts. It's a community position, that's for sure. So a lot of people weigh in on things.
Now, you've been with the town for how many years now?
3.5 years.
I remember the interview process when you came in and we did the interview. That was pretty amazing how that all worked out. Prior to the town manager position, you were Mariana.
Right. Prior to Prescott Valley, I worked for the state of Arizona. I worked for Governor Ducey, and I was the state's chief operating officer. And in that role, I oversaw and got to work closely with all of the different state agencies. There's 35 different state agencies that, from everything from ADOT to the Department of Revenue to environmental quality. And so was in that position. Then before that, I was the Marana town manager for almost 13 years in management there.
Did you, as a young child, did you know that this is what you wanted to do?
I, was born with just thinking of city management.
Seriously?
No.
You came out of the womb wanting to be a city management.
Exactly. My mom and dad would whisper, that
city manager. City manager.
Knew nothing about city management. What I was always passionate about as a kid is I was one of those kids that did some of those entrepreneurial things. Like my dad would go out, and this is like when I was 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, and get mistletoe from a tree and then sell it at Christmas time, try to make some money. And so I was always kind of had that entrepreneurial kind of bent to it. So I liked business and thinking about how to start a business or run a business and be successful at that. But I also loved politics, and I loved reading about politics and studying it. And so it wasn't until I got into college and kind of the late part of college that I heard about city management. And I loved it. It's the perfect intersection of government, policy making, trying to do good things for people in a community, but also how do you run it efficiently and effectively with all the constraints that we have.
There's a lot of juggling going on then.
There's always a lot of juggling, yes.
And you do get the input from all sides involved, not only from the consumer or residents, but also from the various departments and the council. So you get put in the squeeze, so to speak, by different factions all the time.
All the time. Which honestly, that's what, sometimes it makes it fun.
Right.
You are trying to find ways to bring people together. I don't think anyone that goes into this profession, you should aim that you're going to please everyone. You can't. But I do think that if you can try to bring groups together that otherwise wouldn't be talking and collaborating, is a very rewarding feeling when you're able to solve something and move it forward.
And sometimes it's just a matter of getting the parties to sit down and across the table, so to speak, and getting it all out onto the table to find out, gee, it's not just all opposition. We do have some commonalities here, and we need not push those off the table. Let's remember those strengths and then try and solve the issues that separate us.
That's a great way to approach it. And I always love when we do have, a contentious issue and you've got groups that you're trying to meet with, it to start off with, we all have a love for, in my case, Prescott Valley. We all have a love for Prescott Valley. We all want it to be a great place to live, to raise a family, to retire, to have a business. We all, so we start with that baseline, and then you chip away at, all right, where can we compromise? Where can we find a way to advance whatever that particular issue is?
Right.
And it's been working in Prescott Valley, so our hat's off to you, my friend, for taking on all of these challenges. Mike, have you seen the archway in Prescott Valley?
I have indeed.
And what do you think about this?
I'm impressed by it. I think it's great.
I think it's fantastic. So hats off to you, my friend, for this great archway that, on air, was not paid for by tax dollars.
Thank you.
I did not realize that.
No single tax dollar.
Well, federal. It was a federal grant.
Yes,
yeah. Gotcha.
But not our tax dollars.
Dollars. The only thing when I first saw it that crossed my mind wasn't anything to do with the financing. Wasn't whether it was right or wrong. Is gosh, I hope that's high enough that none of the trucks hit it.
It's very cool. I
think it's great.
And it changes colors. I've not seen it at night.
I haven't either.
But a lot of folks
We need to get you out at night,
I
Sandy.
know, using it for a photo op, putting their
really?
super cool vehicles. So
Very cool.
Maybe we should do a board photo.
Ooh. A nighttime photo.
Yes, very cool. We could all hang from the arch.
So I have to ask, where did the idea come from?
Well, it
good
actually
question.
was the town had done a study over 20 years ago of how to try to begin to improve the Highway 69 corridor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a native Arizona. I grew up in Arizona. My family multi-generation in Arizona, and a lot of friends that have lived their entire life here. And when you say, when I say I work for the town of Prescott Valley, almost always the immediate response is, oh, I love the courthouse square and I love Prescott. And most people don't realize that where Prescott Valley is and, that they're passing through it. And so over 20 years ago, the town had commissioned a study. And in that study, they identified an archway to really kind of, indicate where the heart of the community was located at and to get kind of people's attention. And so, they hadn't, whether they didn't have the funding or there were just other priorities in this past several years with all of the infusion of federal dollars from COVID to try to help spur the economy across the, economies across the country. There was money available for this archway. And so not spending local tax dollars, but using, this to really try to put PV on the map. And so now it's kind of that gateway into our entertainment area of, we have the event center. So this makes it much easier. You could say when you get to the arch, turn right or turn left. And then you just drive down the street and you have the event center. You have all the other shopping opportunities in that area. So it just hopefully creates a welcoming portal for our town.
Interesting.
What do we call it? The cooler side of Arizona?
The cooler side of Arizona. That was
I saw
the
that,
tagline.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, at first, there was conversation that it was going to go across Highway 69.
They had initially
Yes.
looked at that. The cost for a span like that would have been much, much greater.
Right.
So I think doing it over Glassford Hill Road right off of 69 still gives the presence, but is more affordable.
It's very cool. I love it. Good job.
And I mean, if you were to say, let's take a poll on where you think it should be. Should it be across 69 or costs aside, across 69 or Glassford Hill? I would have said Glassford Hill because you're identifying your gateway into Prescott Valley. So kudos.
Listeners, so Mr. Davidson, Town Manager, Prescott Valley, Mr. Mike Enders, Bentry Custom Home, Residential Custom Home Builder, and me,
Thank you.
your YCCA girl, the three of us. Oh, and our engineer. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
We're back on air with Mr. Gilbert Davidson, Town Manager, Prescott Valley. So, Mr. D, you work at the pleasure of the council.
I do.
So
yes, so I have 7 equal bosses,
yes,
and the elected officials of our community. So our voters have identified who will lead the policy decisions and the direction of our community. And when the council votes on a particular direction, if there's a majority that says go this way or go that way, I figure out how to make that happen. And I work closely with the council and identifying, how to, craft policies and put together the budget that the council approves. But yes, I work closely with the town council, the mayor and town council. And
you've done a great job with that. I mean, it's just a myriad of personalities.
We have PV, we have a great council. I mean, they all, again, it starts with that baseline of we all care and love love Prescott Valley. And I know all 7 of them do. And so, yeah, trying to help them. Each of them are their own unique individuals, so they have different life experiences. They have different perspectives. And so trying to help them take their idea and then get it sold or, explained to the other council members and then try to get it advanced. And, I love those types of things. You could have an individual council member that is very passionate about a particular topic, and then you try to help them, navigate with the rest of the council and then ultimately to the public. And then hopefully over, a period of time, you're able to realize that progress.
So that's exciting. So being in the town manager seat for Prescott Valley for 3 years now, what is one of the most gracious and exciting changes that you've seen come forward? Not counting the arch.
Minus the arch.
Minus the arch.
Minus the arch. All right. Well, that's actually it's for me. It's easy. I think it's always about people. Mm-hmm. I have loved seeing the team come together. We've been able to recruit some really top talent who are, again, committed and dedicated to our community and really trying to make it a great place to live. And Prescott Valley is at this unique point, and just having served in city management for many years, I love this size of community where it's moving from kind of a small town to you have to start really dealing with and managing some of the people aspects and the growth issues. Not that PV is going to grow into a large town, but you have to mature it.
Right.
So our team has been working very hard at putting in place the right standards, so roadway standards, building standards, planning and zoning standards that guide all of the actions. And so while a lot of the public doesn't see all of that yet, I think in due time as we have new road projects, we have drainage projects, people are going to see some of the new things that we're talking about or have been working on. Things like low impact development standards. So how can we take every drop of water that we get from the sky, from rain or snow, and try to maximize and utilize it in our community and our landscaping areas and those types of things.
And you have done quite well with a lot of those standards, and they are behind the scenes where the typical mom and dad neighbor don't know that that's occurring, i.e. from the industry standpoint, we're involved with those and see some of those standards and make comment and input. So kudos to you for following forward. I think one of the coolest things that you're working on, the wildlife corridor. I mean, that is so exciting.
We're very excited about it. We have a lot of work ahead of us on it, but basically what it's stemming from is the council's strategic plan, which we have 4 focus areas, and one of those focus areas is water and land stewardship. And on the land side, what we're looking at doing is how do we preserve open space, some of our grassland area that we all love. I think that's one of the reasons all of us have moved to this area is we've got beautiful mountain vistas and we have wide open spaces. And How can we make sure that we're appropriately planning future development so that we preserve wide swaths of some of this open space that, it improves our quality of life. I think it improves property values for those that are living here. And ultimately, it helps protect our wildlife. And we've got, antelope that are a migratory species. And we need to be thoughtful from all the way from Flagstaff all the way down through our neck of the woods of how do we preserve some of these corridors so that these animals and other animals can safely traverse.
Now, I know the city of Prescott is going through the open space dilemma right now with their mayor and council. So it seems to be something that's on the forefront of every community's mind.
It is. PV, what we're looking at is there's going to be new policies that will help to guide future development in some of those open space areas. We've been working closely with the city of Prescott, Yavapai County, Chino, and Dewey-Humboldt on a overall master plan for the whole county area. Perfect. So that we preserve it. So I think it's a great regional partnership, and each jurisdiction is going to approach it kind of from their unique perspective.
Sure. Well, the other thing that Prescott Valley has been very successful in is your economic growth. And boy, I mean, it's just all you have to do is look back 10 years ago, see where the town was, or 20 years ago, and how far it's come to today. And my hat is off to the economic driver that you guys have maintained. You've done a great job.
So, but not to the point that growth is exploding.
No, I'm talking about industrial and commercial and employment. I think they've done a great job.
They have in bringing in new businesses, absolutely. With the new hotels and all of those, the restaurants. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing. What we hear about daily, I'm sure, Mr. Davidson, you hear about daily, the grocery store.
Yes, I do hear a lot about a grocery store.
We could talk about, nobody's going to listen to us. I mean, we're not on air, but let's talk about the grocery store.
Well, let me just say, I think that the town has certainly been, has been focused on how do we attract higher wage jobs and a diversity of industries. Right. So manufacturing, to distribution types of companies, to your smaller mom and pop retail outlets. And so, yes, we need to pay very close attention to that. I would say, we're not about housing growth. Like, we're not out trying to attract people to keep moving here. They keep finding Prescott Valley, and they keep finding Prescott in this region just because it's a beautiful place. And people, they come here on vacation and then they fall in love with it. So that, I think, happens naturally. But to your point, we have to be mindful of how do we make sure we have good jobs, good paying jobs, so people can afford to live in the community, and monies that those businesses generate in the form of taxes can go back to invest in the community, whether it's paying for police officers, to our public, our infrastructure and whatnot. Grocery stores, we are always on the hunt for grocery stores, and I think there will be a great announcement in the very near future on something like that.
Boy, and what a time to have to go to break.
I know. Stay tuned. The three of us, four of us. I forget the engineer. We'll be right back.
Our breaths are bated.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Happy weekend, everybody. If you had to leave our show today, or you just tuned in and you missed the first exciting half, guess what, Mike? They can tune in tomorrow morning, Sunday, and catch the whole darn thing.
Same time, same channel?
Same time, same channel, same awesome guest. Okay, Mr. Davidson, how many employees does the town have?
We have approximately 290 or so.
Oh, my gosh.
Full-time employees.
Counting police department.
Counting police department.
Okay.
We contract out the water and wastewater, so that's all done by the private contract. But, those numbers are just actual full-time town employees.
I didn't think it would be that many.
Well, when you have, just the police department alone is a little over 100 total staff, so officers plus professional support staff. So that's over a third of our workforce right there.
Now, you just completed some remodeling at Town Hall at the corporate office. That just goes to show some of the explosion, employee growth and movement of employees around.
We had the building. It looks. I've had people comment. Did we just build the building? And I say no. It was built in like '99, early 2000, and so it's had a number of different iterations over the years. And we're at that point where we just had to make some adjustments with our new neighborhood services department that we created. We kind of co-located other functions into that. We needed to have a appropriate space for them, and just trying to make sure we maximize every bit of space in the building. So we've reconfigured some things to make it better for not only staff to be able to do their job, but to better serve the public.
It turned out quite well. So kudos to you, and staff got along, and I think they're all kind of happy to be in their new little homes.
Construction, as you live that in your guys' profession, it can be very impactful for those that are living through it. And so our team has done a good job. But one thing that I'd like to highlight that I think is going to be really exciting with one of the changes is in our development services, and an area where we want to make as much of a one-stop shopping experience or touch point experience for our public as we possibly can. And so we're going to be, as many town things could be done at that one counter, we want to try to have done. So, and make sure that our staff is trained to be able to answer the questions and guide people to where they need to get the information or the permit or whatever they're doing.
Great idea.
And again, with our other jurisdictions, I can't say enough about your development services staff and team. They're pretty darn awesome. They're always there. They answer the questions. They take the phone calls. Yep. So kudos to you for bringing in those great employees.
Thank you.
What about where are we with permitting online yet?
So
what's the status of that?
We have launched the e-permit software package. So we're encouraging anyone that does regular business with us to start submitting all of their plans digitally. We will still accept hard copy, and we're going to work with certainly, if you have an individual who doesn't have the software system and they're just trying to get a fence permit or they're doing a little, expansion on their house, we'll try to work with them and assist them to get it into the digital platform. But for the most part, every contractor and architect are now starting to submit things online. The main part of our system, we're moving to a software system called Clarity, is going to have so many more features for the public to be able to look at where their permits are, what the status is, to be able to have comments back and forth via that system. And so I think from a customer service perspective, there's going to be some great enhancements. And then just being able to track internally with all the different departments that touch the development review, I think it's going to be much more efficient for us. When
do you anticipate this being 101%?
It'll take probably another year to get there. There's different modules. So we have the building review component. We have a planning component.
Perfect.
Business license. So when a new business owner comes in and they're new to the town, everything can be done through that system. So you get your business license, have your building plans reviewed, or whatever you're needing can all be done through that particular system.
Terrific.
So as a town manager, do you ever unplug?
Well, I don't know. I think, I love what I do. And so I'm always thinking about things. Probably the answer, if you were asking my wife and daughter,
they would say no.
They would say no. I do have moments like where I feel, I can unplug. But, I'm always on call. I think if there's any issue that happens in our community, I, need to be available and aware of what's happening. But I love what I do. So I think it's like anyone that's passionate about what they do. Mm-hmm. You're always thinking about how to make it better, and you see ideas. Like I'll read an article in a magazine, and I'll be like, "Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. Like, how could we do something like that in our town?" I love, and I get teased by friends about just kind of wonky, nerdy, like leadership development type things. Like, how to inspire a team to do, great things. And so if I see something like that, I love thinking about that.
So, and I will say on air, every time I call you early in the morning, late at night, on a weekend, you're not unplugged. I mean, you take my phone call, and vice versa. You do the same thing to me. I take your phone call, so I guess I'm not unplugged either.
We love what we do.
Yes.
Yes, I'm sitting here working with two AAA type personalities.
Absolutely love what we do. Always trying to make a difference. Mike, you're the same way.
But that's what makes entities and people successful.
I totally believe that.
You hit the speed bumps, you look away. How do we recoup from that speed bump? What did we learn? How do we move forward, make it better? I mean, that's just the way that we're wired.
So our Hilton Hotel number 2 in PV is coming along in front of the event center.
That one's a Marriott.
A Marriott, that's right.
It is coming along. So the structure is up, and they're starting to start to go in interior with it, and so it's very exciting to see the formation of that, and that's going to be a great addition because if you think about, we have the one Hampton and then a couple other smaller units, but. That limits us from being able to, grow some of our tourism, which helps support restaurants and some of our other stores in the community. And, when Prescott's hotels are filled up because of big special events that they have going on, now this will be a great place where people can pick Prescott Valley to, stay and hopefully spend some money.
I'm meeting with the owner of the Marriott and the job site superintendent to plan and peruse our home show layout. So
that will impact that area.
A big impact. So, but there's a solution. There's a resolution. It'll all work out somehow, some way.
You could rent individual hotel rooms and have different vendors in each one, right?
I like that idea. Yes, you have to wear hard hats and safety vests.
The idea of picking up and moving forward and learning from past tragedies, certainly that's applicable to the Legato situation.
That's under works again.
So happy to see them back under construction.
I know.
It is great to see that they've started rebuilding that, and certainly a lot of lessons learned with all of our, projects that are taking place in PV, making sure that that doesn't ever happen again.
Yeah. Boy, but that is going to be something phenomenal.
Oh, it's going to be wonderful with everything they have planned. So kudos to Fane Signature Group and the Founders Building Group for doing what they're doing.
Well, and with that project, I think what's really exciting is the retail and the restaurant.
I know.
Like to have a sit-down restaurant, which our community desperately needs.
And grab-and-go stuff. Whoa.
Yeah.
I would grab and go El Gato food any chance I get.
I was just going to say, the purveyor of the restaurant is certainly well-known, respected, and anticipated.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll be driving down for grab-and-go food, won't you?
Betcha I will.
Gilbert, his tax dollars are coming to PV.
See, that's exactly right there is the point.
Way to go.
And I will be happy to do so.
We welcome it.
Yes. I do believe, though, he participates with tax dollars for Culver's and the ice cream.
I already do. That's correct.
See, I know.
They do have good ice cream.
And it's not for personal gain. It's only to support the economic growth of the town. What a sacrifice.
What a sacrifice. Listeners, with
Someone's got to do it.
Someone has to, so why not, Mike? Take us to break, please,
Absolutely.
Mr. Culver.
It's my pleasure. We're having a great conversation, and we will look forward to some more interesting questions. And we hope you are enjoying this informational tour of ours about Prescott Valley with the town manager. So please stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Mr. Davidson, this has just been an honor having you with Mike and me on Hammer Time. Appreciate it, and I cannot believe, Mike, it has taken us this long to get him on Hammer Time.
Almost shameful, borderline.
It's very shameful that you did not invite him sooner.
We'll change that, and we'll invite him again to where he's going to say, do I have to go over again?
So I want to have you speak I know that Prescott Valley, the town, is strongly opposed to the House bill to eliminate the food tax. What number is that bill?
It's 2021 House Concurrent Resolution, and what the legislature is looking at doing is sending it directly to the voters and have them weigh in the 2026 election to eliminate communities that have a food tax. And there's, out of the 91 cities and towns in Arizona, I think 71 of them have the food tax. And Prescott Valley is one of them. Prescott also has it. So by eliminating this will have a huge financial impact upon the town as well as Prescott. So for the town of Prescott Valley, we could be looking at a little over $5 million would be permanently removed from our ongoing revenue stream. So, that means we'll have to, really rethink programs and services. And, our community is committed. We want to make sure that we have good public safety, we have good infrastructure, parks, roads, those types of things. But it will mean some very tough decisions as that goes forward.
That's one of the things that I would hope that the consumer is going to be made aware of prior to that public vote. Because if you just walk up to anyone and say, are you in favor of eliminating taxes? The answer is certainly going to be, in most cases, yes. But they need to understand that money to replace that either has to come from another area, or, as you said, there's going to be a cutback on certain services. So they need to understand that there are some trade-offs and there may be some eliminations that they may not be happy with.
They would be disastrous. I mean, truly.
Well, and if, our community is a pretty fiscally conservative community, and rightfully so, and we elected not to have any property tax. Mm-hmm. That usually gets, people concerned when there's a property tax and high property taxes. So we live off a sales tax. And so when you have a long list of needs in the community, there's people that are asking for, improved roads or new sidewalks and better parks and more police coverage. All of that has a cost. And so we rely on that sales tax piece to be able to afford all of those things. And so if we have a huge reduction like that, it does make it very hard to balance it all.
And the community is the benefactor. The residents are the benefactor of those improvements, but yet the community itself isn't paying all of that tax. It's just like bed tax. A lot of that is coming from people passing through or from outside our communities that are enriching our communities. So
that's right.
People need to understand, and hopefully they will.
And if you think about that, and you're spot on, if we did away with that tax and then we said, all right, what if we had a property tax? Well, property tax is only paid for by the residents of Prescott Valley.
Exactly.
So everyone that lives outside of Prescott Valley that would still be using all of the roads, all of the parks,
medical, police,
all of those services. This way, it helps to capture all of that. And I agree with you. No one likes taxes. You pay taxes. I don't like paying taxes, but
sure.
But I also understand. I think all of us in our community understand that if we want to have a healthy community that's well managed and well maintained, we have to pay for that. It doesn't come for free.
If you want those services, it has to come from somewhere.
So you almost have to start up a grassroots to educate the consumer on voting no, because right now, with expenses going up and gas and food prices and the price of eggs, people are looking to cut back and save themselves. So it's going to be tough. So whatever we have to do to support voting no on that, we'll be on board.
Yeah, I think an analysis needs to come off prior to the election, as you're saying, to let people know that if you're opposed to this tax, then please understand
this is what could
these
happen.
Are the following services it's going to impact. Are we going to eliminate them? Hopefully not, but it's certainly going to impact the following services, and they may be very surprised.
And just so I'm on the record, the town is not able to be out,
correct,
promoting one way or another. That's up to obviously voters to decide that. But I think our job is to provide education.
Right.
Like if this happens, then we're going to have to deal with it in this way.
Yep.
So
There needs to be a grassroots effort.
Where does the League of Town and Cities stand on this?
They, again, the League of Arizona Cities and Towns represents all cities and towns across the state, and so they're very much opposed. And they tend to be anything that takes away local control, takes away the rights of local elected officials from deciding, their own destiny for their community. The League tends to always want to support local government. And so any impact by the legislature to take away those rights, they tend to be against it.
Well, keep us posted, and we'll be happy to keep our listeners in the community posted, and we'll be on the grassroots end. Right, Mike?
Absolutely.
Because we can. So, food tax.
There you go.
Don't eliminate it. What about you live locally? Does the city manager or town manager have to live in the community they serve?
Yeah, it's part of my contract, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I couldn't imagine, leading the town and working closely with the elected officials if you're not living and understand the pulse of the community. So I'm a big believer of that, and I love living in Prescott Valley. Okay,
so here's a good question. When you drive, when you leave your home and you're on the road and you're driving around town, are you always taking notes? Look at this and look at that, and I need to fix this. Yes, so that's part of never turning it off. In your lap.
I have, I use my phone's to-do list, so I'll just put reminders. But our town also has a mobile app.
I love the PV app.
I think I'm like the biggest user.
I think I'm the biggest user.
We'll have to run a report and see who's the biggest user. But I am on that quite often, and it's a great way. And for anyone listening that's from PV, it's called Our PV. Right. It's in the Apple Store, the Google Store. You can download it, and it's a great way to report anything. So it could be potholes, it could be graffiti, it could be a down tree, anything that's going on, trash, whatever it is. And it automatically puts it into our work order system, and it helps our staff to be organized and more responsive on those things. I use it all the time. It's amazing. I wasn't aware of it. That's great. And Our PV. Yes, Our PV app. It's beautiful. And you hear back from them. You know the status of your complaint. I mean, I've sent in stop sign down or tree limb or trash or potholes. So I don't suppose it's appropriate for me to say the line was too long at Culver's or at the... No, it's any not of the other. You could try. Reject. Well, that's a good problem to have. If the line at Culver's is too long, that means a lot of people are going to Culver's. Do you go to Culver's weekly or what? Oh, no, not weekly, but probably at least a couple times a month. So, but I try and spread my dollars out, so I go to other establishments in PV also. Wow. That is awesome. That's awesome. You get an A+. Chick-fil-A is one of my faves. That's a good. What about the new cane? Cane? I haven't been there yet. I started to go there, and this shows how tough it is for me. The lines were too long. Too long. So you have limits. You draw the line somewhere. And Salad and Go is going to be opening up. Waiting for that to open. So you can mix salad with your ice cream. Yes. There you go. Listeners, we'll be right back to wrap up our show. Don't move.
You're listening to Hammer Time, waking up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Once again, here's your host, Sandy Griffiths.
Mr. Davidson, again, it was a pleasure having you with Mike and me on Hammer Time. You are a wealth of information. You are a guiding light for our town, and we are really lucky to have you represent us. Well, thank you, Sandy, for having me on. You're too kind. But yeah, thank you. It's an honor to be on. I love talking about our town and sharing things about our community. We do great things, and I appreciate you always taking my phone calls and my emails. Please don't block me. Please don't block me. That shows that he's also tolerant. Oh, yes, it does. Very tolerant. He always greets me with a smile. Your family is here. They love living in Prescott Valley.
They do. Yeah, my wife and daughter love living here. My wife teaches in the school district, and my daughter attends the district. And so, so they love it. And then I grew up in Wilcox, Arizona. So when people talk about a small town, they don't, like, Wilcox is a small town. 3,800 people live in Wilcox. And so you definitely get to know every single person in the community. Sure. My mom and dad still live there and love to kind of venture up here to visit. Perfect.
Well, let us know when we can build a home for them. Yeah. So until next weekend, I'm Sandy.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Gilbert.
We love having you with us. Keep up the good work. We're always here to help you. We've got a great town that we live in. It's wonderful. It's compact, it's nice, it's sweet, and it's everything good.
Absolutely. We thank you for all of your efforts, what you do for us, and again, thank you for coming to join us.
So listeners, call me, Sandy, 778-0040. I'm your go-to girl for anything construction.
HammerTime. Thank you for tuning in to Hammer Time. Waking Up with the YCCA, a presentation of the Yavapai County Contractors Association. Heard each and every Saturday morning at 7, with an encore presentation Sunday mornings at 7 on AM 1130 by 99.9 FM in Prescott, 95.5 FM, Prescott Valley and Cottonwood, and online at kqna.com. A library of past Hammer Time shows can be listened to on the Yavapai County Contractors website at ycca.org. Break it down.